From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
This Thursday, I'm Andrea Lutz. This afternoon, we're following a massive lawsuit filed by 21 states, including Montana, against the Biden administration over the future of the Keystone XL pipeline. The suit says stopping construction is unconstitutional. The lawsuit claims the power to regulate foreign and interstate commerce belongs to Congress, not the president. The suit was filed in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas. The northern part of the pipeline would start in Canada, cut through northeast Montana, and end in Nebraska. There's also a connect with the southern leg of the pipeline to the Gulf Coast. Opponents say the pipeline is bad for the environment. Authorities are still working to determine if an Atlanta shooting rampage that left 8 people dead was racially motivated. However, the suspect told police it was a sexual addiction issue, and officers say the suspect was a regular at the 3 spas and that may have been lashing out at them. 21-year-old Robert Long is charged with 8 counts of murder. 7 of the victims in the deadly attack are women. 6 are Asian. There are now 19 confirmed cases of the COVID variant strains in Montana, and health officials say the Centers for Disease Control notified them that the California and New York variant strains are here. The strains are in several counties, including Beaverhead, Jefferson, Madison, and Butte-Silver Bow. There are now the UK variant cases confirmed in Gallatin County. A new study shows the risk of reinfection for COVID-19 is extremely rare. Researchers found of 17,000 people infected with COVID-19 between last March and May, only 72 were reinfected during the second surge. Officials say the initial infection offered 80% protection against getting sick again, and that number fell to 47% for adults 65 and older. Older adults, of course, are more vulnerable due to a weaker immune system, and that's why it's so important, officials say, for them to get vaccinated. The federal government will allocate $10 billion for coronavirus testing in schools. This coming as the CDC is reconsidering reducing guidelines for distance in classrooms to 3 feet instead of 6. 18 states are reporting at least a 10% rise in some of those new cases. In Cascade County, COVID restrictions are now lifted, and that means masks are no longer required. There's also not a capacity for people at an event anymore. The county's Board of Health previously ordered restrictions to stay in place until the county went to 2 straight weeks with a virus case rate of less than 10 per 100,000 people. And the Montana VA healthcare system will hold its largest COVID-19 vaccination clinic in Helena this weekend. Saturday's clinic at the National Guard's Aviation Readiness Center will be open to any enrolled veterans, no matter their age or their health status. Unlike previous Montana VA vaccination events where the VA staff contacted those patients, this time enrolled veterans will call to set up their own vaccination appointment. We're changing gears, looking at the weather now, as maybe there's some changes coming.
There are some changes coming. Enjoy the beautiful weather while it lasts. Like Andrea says, we do have this system coming out of the west, so we're going to cool down and have a chance at rain and snow as we head toward the weekend. But our latest shot coming in from Bozeman, the Montana State University webcam. You can see a lot of blue sky there with some clouds mixing in, but it's feeling good. 51 right now, winds out of the north at about 5 miles an hour. And Butte, well, she's a beaut. Look at that. A lot of blue sky with a few clouds mixing in. 48 with that sunshine. Winds out of the northwest at about 3. So take a look at temperatures across the state. We've got 47 in Missoula, 50 in Kalispell, state capital, Helena at 47, Lewistown at 57, Miles City at 45, and we've got 40 down in Sheridan. Also along the High Line today, I'm talking about Cutbank, Chinook, Shelby. You could get near or even tie record warmth today, and it's not out of the realm of possibility, Andrea. They can actually beat that. Like I said, enjoy it while it lasts, because those changes are coming.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Thanks, Miller, so much for that. Okay. So Butte, it found a way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day despite the parade being canceled due to the pandemic. Of course, through the crowds, they were much smaller with people than previous years. The enthusiasm, we're told, though, still very much high. After a year of dealing with the pandemic, many people yesterday seemed to be eager to get out. Some people came from as far as Great Falls to check out the day in Butte, and many business owners even said they were surprised by that high turnout. Well, the gates to the east entrance of Glacier National Park will be open to visitors for the 2021 tourism season. The Blackfeet Tribal Business Council voted unanimously to reopen the entrance. That location is on the Blackfeet Reservation, of course. The entrance was closed since March 15th of last year when the tribe implemented a state of emergency to help protect against the spread of COVID-19. Glacier's west entrance opened in June after a 2-month closure due to the pandemic. The reopening is part of phase 3 of the reservation's reopening plan.
It was a real awesome experience today that the council they were chomping at the bit to get it done, and they were excited. The vote was unanimous, and I think it's better. It was a lot of it was done for the mental well-being of our own people here as well as those coming around.
Tribe officials say the Tribe Business Council will continue to work with the park, area businesses, and local health officials to keep the reservation as safe as possible. This afternoon, there is new information surrounding a Bozeman man facing charges for his alleged involvement at the Capitol riots in January. 36-year-old Andrew Kavanaugh owns Tactical Citizen. It's a business in Belgrade that provides firearm training. Court documents say he's seen in a video on the first floor of the Capitol near the Small House Rotunda. Kavanaugh is being charged with entering a restricted building without authority, violent entry, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. He's the 6th Montanan charged in connection with those Capitol riots on the 6th. A Montana Tech football player is facing felony sexual assault charges involving 2 separate victims. Derek Nygaard from Clancy turned himself in after a warrant was issued for his arrest, and court documents say the assaults took place last year in September and in October. Nygaard is 19 years old and was recruited by Tech in 2020, but he never actually played as the season was called off because of COVID-19. In Billings, prosecutors in the trial of Diego Hernandez say DNA links him to the murder of Lori Bray. The state crime lab's DNA supervisor says traces of his skin were found under Bray's fingernails. But defense lawyers argue that the test could be flawed because it isn't tested twice at the crime lab. Photos of his car, though, were shown to the jury. Bray's clothes were scattered inside and the turn signal was broken off the steering column. Mud was caked on the stereo, and one sheriff's deputy told the jury they believe Bray was killed inside the vehicle. At our nation's capital, the violence against women's law has leaped over a major hurdle passing in the House. Still, lawmakers say it might have a harder time passing now in the Senate. 29 Republicans voted with every Democrat to support reauthorizing the Violence Against Women's Act. The law places legal protections on women who experience domestic and sexual violence, but the law expired 2 years ago. The legislation includes provisions to expand housing for survivors and closes a loophole to prevent abuse convictions on dating partners from owning firearms. The previous version of that bill only applied to spouses. Billings police are investigating what caused a vehicle to crash into a West End home. Thankfully, nobody was injured at the house. It happened in the West End, and police believe that the driver may have suffered a medical issue. They were taken to the hospital. We're trying to figure out more about what happened there. Okay, so here's something you're going to want to know. March Madness, it tips off tomorrow with CBS Sports coverage of these games. So throughout the day, MTN and some of our shows, including the Noon News, will be available on our streaming app. We're talking about Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV. All you have to do is just search for our local station inside the app, and you can join us tomorrow on the MTN News for noon on there. All right, and we do have more ahead on the Noon News. Of course, we're talking about Freeze Out Lake and when is going to be the best time to see some of those geese this year. We'll have that story ahead. But first, Miller's in with another look at that forecast.